Hi, my name is Kristen, and in this video I'm going to show you two ways to create graphs that you can insert into documents or slides or anything else that you're working on. So a couple digital ways to create graphs. First thing you want to make sure you do is that you're signed into your North Clackamas Google account because you'll definitely need that to save things as you're working through this. So what you want to do to check that is just open a new tab, look across the very top, and make sure that it's your image that shows up here. Another thing you can do is you can click on that picture and it'll tell you what the email account is that you're signed into. If you're not seeing your own North Clackamas email account here, you'll want to add another account. It might be on the list somewhere and then you can just click to change. But otherwise you'll want to add another account and log in here to your North Clackamas email account. So here you put your North Clackamas email account, you click next, and it will ask you for your password. Once you do that, then you'll be logged in and you'll be good to go. One way to make a graph that you can then insert into documents or slides or anything else is to use Desmos, a free graphing calculator software. So you come here, you're going to type desmos.com. And one thing, you want to make sure you're signed into your Google account. So if that's not you, make sure you go switch that. And then you want to log in or sign up. If you've never used this before, you'll sign up. But again, you just use your Google account to your North Clack Google account and you'll be fine. So I'm going to log in with Google. So you can't quite see that. I'm going to use my North Clackamas account. And then I'm going to go into the graphing calculator. And this, you can see my name is here. That means that I can save this graph if I want and use it over and over. So you have a blank screen here. You just start by typing in the equation you want to graph. So say I wanted to do y equals x squared. To get the squared, I have a couple options. I can hit Shift 6 and you can see it pops up to make an exponent. The other thing I could do is I could use this keypad menu at the bottom. This has all kinds of options for math functions. If I don't see the one I need, I can click on functions and click through these different functions. So if you needed a summation or an integral or a log with a different base, those are all here, as are a bunch of statistics functions and trig functions. So those are all in that functions menu. Back to this, I wanted x squared, so I could just click this a squared button, or I could do this one if I had a different exponent so that I can put in the 2. I'm going to use arrow over then, because I want to get out of the superscript. I'm going to do that minus 3x plus 4, and you could see as I was putting that in, the graph just shows up right away. So say the second equation I was looking at is something like y is less than negative x squared plus 3. So I can just use the next to the m on your keypad, you'll see greater than and less than symbols. So there's my negative x squared plus 3. Actually, let's make that plus 4 just because it'll show up a little bit better with what we're doing here. So you can see immediately the graph shows up. And then from here, you have a whole bunch of different options. So you can come here and if you click into the graph, you can see those gray points showed up right away. If I click on them, then the intersections will stay on the screen. So if you want those intersection points to be labeled for you, you just click right on the intersections. You can also do that with the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts of the graph. So those are all options. If you don't want those labels anymore, just click again and they disappear. You can zoom in and zoom out using these plus and minus buttons. If you zoom way out, either on purpose or on accident, you just click the home button and it'll take you right back to normal. You also might want to get fancy with this and change the colors. This settings button here, this little gear that says edit list, if you click on that, now you can come in and you can change the style of the lines and you can change the color. This blue one, it's not going to let me change the style of the line because it's a dashed line. That means something mathematically, so it's not going to let me change that, but I could change it to a different color if I wanted. So if I wanted it to be green or purple, I could do that here. I then click done to get back to the main menu. If I wanted to add a table to this, so notice these are just equations right now. You can also use this to do like calculator functions. So if I just wanted to know what 3 squared plus 2/3 is, you can see it operates like a little calculator right inside this. Doesn't show anything on the graph, but that's okay because that would just be if I wanted a calculation. I also can come up here and add a table. So say I wanted to graph the points 3, 4, and 6, 5, and 0, 3. And again, you can see those all showed up as I was putting them in. They show up right on my graph, and you can just keep adding as many more points as you need to in your table. So you can graph tables, you can graph functions. If you look at this, and if you click anywhere on the graph, so I'm just going to click and hold my mouse on this point, I can drag it around. So that might be helpful depending on what you want to see. If you want to set specific things for your X and Y axis or anything else, they're all in this wrench option. So in here I can choose what kinds of things are showing up. If I was asked to graph with a specific domain, I could put that here. So maybe I needed to graph it from -2 to 4 for my domain, and let's say this -2 to 6 for my range. So I can just type those right in here. The step lets you be specific, add label. So say your X is time and your Y is distance. That's not the case here, but just if you wanted to add labels, that's where they go, and then they all show up right here. And then what you can do is just click on this little share graph button, and you can share a link to it, or you can export the image. You probably want to export the image. That'll let you download it to your desktop, and then you can do whatever else you need to. So you can play around with those, download it, and then drop that image file into whatever else you're doing. It'll be a fixed image, kind of like a picture, so you can't change it in your document anymore. But if you, back here, if we save this, whoops, I'm going to rename it first. I'm going to type this, I'm going to call this example 1, and I save it. And then this will stay in my Desmos account. So if I wanted to make a change later, I could just come back in here and click on example 1. Another way you can insert a graph into a document or slideshow or Google Forms is by using the Equatio extension. And this is something that any North Clackamas student or teacher has access to. You'll want to, again, make sure that you are logged into the browser. So click up here and just make sure that that is your North Clackamas email account, not someone else's. If it's not yours, you'll want to add and put it so that your email account shows up here. Then, whoops, once you know that you're in your email, you're logged into the browser, there should be a little toolbar up in the upper right corner, and you should look for this blue diamond. So if you see mine, it's right up here. If you don't see it right away, you could click on this extensions next to it and check the list. You might need to scroll down, but you should see it on that list somewhere, and then you can pin it. So you can see my Bitmoji's not pinned, so it doesn't show up, but if I pinned it, then it would always show up in this toolbar. So you'll just want to pin Equatio like I have it, so it shows up in your toolbar. If you don't have it on that list, then you have to add the extension. Easy to do. You go to this link. Let me show you the link. So here's the, whoops, you can't see that whole address, but it's highlighted here for you, texthelp.com/en/us/products/equatio/, and that will get you to this Equatio text help page. You click try Equatio today. It won't do it on mine because I already have it installed, but on yours, you'll then see this pop up with the choices. You'll want to click on Chrome. Again, you'll want to use your North Clackamas email account, and it'll add this extension to your browser. So then again, it'll show up in this bar at the top. So once you've got that done, whoops, then say you're working in a document and you want to insert a graph. Let me make this a little bit smaller so you can see it. There we go. So, oops, originally it would just, this is what your document would look like when you open a new doc. To get the Equatio stuff to show up, you click on this little blue diamond, or again, go down to your extensions and find it. And notice here, one of these is a graph. You can use this to insert all kinds of math, but we're focusing on graphs right now. So you're going to click on the graph editor, and notice this is the exact same Desmos graph I just showed you. All of the things work exactly the same. So again, I'm going to just type in a function here, y = x² - 3x + 4, and you can use your mouse to move around in here. The functions don't seem to pop up here, but to get the x, the squared with the x, again, if you hit Shift 6, then you push 2, and then use the arrow or the mouse to move over again. And you can see here I've got the graph. Again, I can click on it and move it. Again, I can click here and make different points show up. So all of that is exactly the same as in Desmos. Zoom in and zoom out are the same. The wrench is the same to change the settings. So all of those things you can still change the same way we did before. So once we've got that, I am going to come down here to the bottom where it says Insert Graph. So when I click on Insert Graph, it takes a moment, and then there's my graph from Desmos. And again, this is a put in like an image file, so you can resize it, you can put it where you want it, you can copy and paste it, do all the same things you'd normally do with a picture. So that's another way to get a Desmos graph right in here. If you wanted to change this one and you had created it this way through Equatio, if you click on it again, and you see this little edit math at the bottom. So if we click edit math, it's going to open it up again. Whoops, and let me change it. So it's being a little slow right now, but that would be one way to change it. Or you could just start over, come back into the graph. Oh, there it is. It was there. I just didn't click on the thing at the bottom. So that's how you get it back, is to click on that graph editor at the bottom. The other thing you can do if you have the Equatio extension and you want a freehand graph, so these are all graphing functions or tables. If you want a freehand graph, you can go to this insert math space. And what math space does is open up a blank screen where you can create your own images and things like that you can again then drop in. So now if I just wanted, I like to use the freehand drawing. So say I wanted to, if I just wanted to draw a shape, right, or a picture of something that went with my work, I could do it this way. And then I can insert it using this box, this blue button in the upper corner. But what we're focusing on still is graphs here, so let me just delete all of those. If you come to these shapes and more shapes, there's all kinds of things you can insert. Again, we're looking for a graph here, so I'm going to go all the way down, all the way down. You could also just search coordinate plane or axes, and this would come up. Here it is, coordinate plane with 10 ticks. So then I just come in here, I click on my graph, there it is. And then if I wanted to draw, say I need to draw something with a x-intercept of -1, 2, 3, and a y-intercept of +1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So I know my line has to go between those, and then I can just go like this, and I'm just drawing with my mouse, and I can add what I need to it. Again, when you're done, we click here on Insert, and it's going to insert that right into the document we were working on. You can resize it, you can change whatever you need to.